Hey, Cat.
What up?
Um, Dr. Evil Genius here. I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How far over the speed limit do you normally like to drive?
Uh, about 15, sometimes 20.
All
Like, if
right.
I'm being honest.
So let's say you're in a residential zone and the speed limit is 30 miles per hour.
I'll go like 40.
Okay. You're on the highway and the speed limit is 65.
Depending on the area, bro, I will dump that bitch. I will go to 85, 90 sometimes. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay.
But depends.
Now, let's say you were on the road and you're doing 85 and a 65 and you get pulled over by a police car. How angry are you that you got caught?
Oh, I'm fucking mad because usually I'm like looking out, making sure, you have those cops usually have those usual spots on highways. I'm pretty frustrated with myself, yeah.
But you'd be mad, but not at the cop. You'd be mad at yourself.
Oh, I'd be mad at myself for sure. Like, you stupid motherfucker. Why'd you do that?
All right. Well, in France, they've got a little bit of a different situation going on. Let me ask you this, Captain. Let me ask you this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What if you were in a situation where instead of the police hitting you with the radar, it's by cameras in private cars driven by private citizens? You get a citation in the mail and a fine. How angry are you? There are no cops around, but then you have these, I don't know, paid snitches
Yeah,
that are
sellouts.
driving around with the sole purpose of giving out tickets. How upset would you be?
Oh,
in
I would
that
be
situation,
pissed at
Cap?
that, bro. I would be absolutely pissed at them. Like, dude, like, get a life. Like, legitimately, get a life.
Well, unfortunately, since they are employed and making money, technically this is guys getting a life. 500,000 speeding drivers in France caught by private camera cars in 2021. Privately operated speed camera cars have operated in France since 2018 and accounted for 76 million euros in fines last year, which would be over $100 million. France has an established reputation for being rather strict when it comes to speeding. In 2018, the country implemented privately operated speed camera cars driven not by law enforcement, but by outsourced individuals. Their use has spread since then, and in 2021, these anonymous cars caught more than 500,000 speeding motorists in France.
That's crazy, man. Like, so let me get this straight. Is this a company that is hiring these drivers out that essentially is funded by the government? Or is it like the government literally directly hires certain drivers, gives them the equipment to I would say give the information to get them tickets?
Well, according
You know
to
what
this article, the actual cars are still government property, but the drivers are employed by a private company, and as such, they don't pull people over. Cameras and infrared tech are used to monitor traffic while the driver travels a predetermined route. The system does all the work, flashing a car that is speeding and logging the info for the fine. There is no indication when vehicles are flash decided, and no information is given to the camera car driver. In this case, the person behind the wheel is essentially just driving an unmarked anonymous speed camera. So imagine, you know where the speed cameras are, right?
Right. Yeah, you do.
But now imagine the speed camera follows you in traffic.
Oh, I'm hot. That's crazy. That's just it's. I hate to say it. I could get the logic right because I guess with that type of philosophy, right, where you have a bunch of like cars going around there, government vehicles, essentially moving speed traps, correct? Like constantly within the flow of traffic.
Yep.
It would definitely deter people from speeding because like, is this car got a radar? Is this car got a radar? So I think, subconsciously you're gonna be like, all right, I don't want to get caught. But I don't know, man. It's just I feel like that's so underhanded in another way, where it's just like I don't know. I can see both sides of it. I think that from France's side, it definitely makes people be more aware of their speed on the road. But then just to me, like are they taking into account if I'm about to get cut off and I have to like speed up to make a maneuver? Am I gonna get dinged because I'm trying to like defend myself or prevent an accident? You know what I'm trying to say? Like it's just I feel like when you don't have any human element there and they're just using a camera and a speed gun, like a radar gun, and that's the only data you're doing for to send these tickets out. I just feel like there's it's I get the idea of a system, but I think it can be a very flawed system at the same time.
Yeah. I don't really like the implications of living in a world where people are employed as professional snitches. I don't think that we should have a world where everybody is forced to go to the letter of the law on exactly everything all the time. I don't want to live in a world where there is little to no danger of, by going, 1 mile per hour over, or 5 miles per hour over, or 10 miles per hour over with no other cars on the road. I don't want to be in a situation where I've got this limiter, and it's almost like you're back in kindergarten.
Yeah.
And you get punished for coloring a little bit outside the lines.
I feel like it's just gonna alienate drivers and just I think it probably makes some people drive more carefully, but let's just have the cold truth here. Some people are just gonna drive no matter whatever consequences happen, right? Like they're gonna drive like an ass, they're just gonna drive like an ass. You know how many people go through court, even lose their license because they don't learn from prior actions, at least here in the United States. I don't necessarily understand how things work there in France. But I don't know. I think it's kind of a peculiar system. I'm not really comfortable with it myself because there's real no accountability for the person that is writing the ticket. And like I said, there's a lot of...
The person doesn't write the ticket. It's all done by, computers and cameras and
No, I know they don't necessarily write the ticket. Maybe I should word this better. But essentially the person that is getting the ticket to be written, like, are they giving all the other external factors? Because I've had to speed, and you've probably had to speed to kind of, some knucklehead almost ramming me. Like, I remember I'm going on 195. I had someone that was like, I was in the right-hand lane, mind you, gunning me. They ended up almost hitting me, so I had to, like, speed up, move to the middle lane, and then they ended up going off, hitting the guardrail, and getting into an accident. You know what I mean? So, like, for me, it's like when I had to make these immediate reactions, right? I was going, like, I think 55 and like a 65 or something like that. I had to like gun it to like 70, 80. It's like, well, now do I get punished for that? And I know that's so circumstantial. That might not happen. That's probably never going to happen. But that is a circumstance that could. Right. And I just think kind of, I feel like if you're going to enforce laws, let your police officers or your authoritative figures just make those decisions. I don't know, it's like Big Brother in a way, right? Like cameras always watching you, always watching you. Better be careful what you're doing there, little Johnny. It's just it's fucking creepy. It's creepy.
I had to jam on the gas a few months ago, where the light turned green for me, and a big SUV ran the red, and I'm in this tiny little two-seater, and this big ass SUV is intent on running the red. I'm already in the intersection, and he's ready to kill me to run this red light. And I had to jam on the gas, because normally your instinct is to jam on the brake when you see bright lights coming from the side. Yeah. But for me, I'm like, listen, I'm already here. The car passed behind me, running the red while I had the green.
I remember you telling me the story, yeah.
Right? And the car passes behind me, misses my car by about 6 inches. And yeah, I had to jam on the gas to survive there. Right? Should I have some fucking snitch driving behind me with a radar gun and a camera? I'm not. But here's a really interesting thing about this story, though. Check this out. The camera cars are also limited to a maximum of 194,000 euros in fines per car in 1 year. However, 450 are presently in use throughout the country, which means the French government allows up to 87.3 million euros in annual speeding fines to be generated by private companies.
See, it
just seems like taxation and theft.
Thank you. It's just another form of taxation because we all know everyone goes over the speed limit, man. And it's like, what's the definition? You went 42 and a 40. There's your ticket. And it's like
Jay-Z said, you went 55 and a 54.
Oh yeah, dude.
Right?
Yeah. I love that song. But like I think what it's kind of coming down to it, man, is that like it's just to a point of it's like that's just to make money. That's all it is. And it's like you're also funding this essentially private company, and you're like, it's a very weird situation. Like they already spent a lot of their tax dollars in police force and stuff like that. Let your police people do that shit. Let them kind of do it. Don't have like undercover friggin' civilian used cars or looking civilian used cars just taking people down randomly because they look in the mail like, what's this ticket for? And I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm really not. I think, like I said, it's Big Brother in a way. Cameras are always watching you, and it's just very, 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 very peculiar. I would definitely not want that in the United States. No way.
I mean, we have various forms of that already as it is, but from a burgeoning car enthusiast standpoint, I will also tell you from where I sit, and the kind of cars that I like, right? The ones I can't afford, right? What is the point of spending all this money on an enthusiast car if you've got Big Brother hovering over you to make sure that you don't actually use the car as intended? Why is it in France you have everybody peering over your shoulder, but in Germany they say, hey, just make safe maneuvers. Don't be a douchebag on the road.
Different society, different kind of cultures. I don't know. It's just very, and plus France probably want to get a little bit more money. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I think personally it would be amazing if we had like an Autobahn here in the United States because that would be fun. Because like that's one thing. These expensive and like high end cars don't really kind of appeal to me because it's like, unless I go to a track, I'm not really using the thing. I'm just not. Right. It's like it doesn't make sense to me. Like, why am I going to spend like 6 figures on a fucking car, which is usually just a terrible investment because it doesn't retain that value.
You don't get it for an investment; you get it for enjoyment. Like,
right, but
you don't go on vacation because it helps you.
No, but
it helps you, further.
We here are money oriented. I'm just being honest. I'm just saying, you buy a car for 6 figures, do not expect to sell it for the same price. You're going to be losing money if that is what that's how some people think they'll buy investment.
Well, I will say it like this though: once you start getting into the 6-figure range, those cars tend to retain their value more because those cars are usually rarer, and then over time they gain value. So when if you were talking about your high-end Honda Civic CI, right? Know what? There are millions of those on the road. That's going to depreciate and stay depreciated. But when you get into the supercar, hypercar territory, they retain their value better usually than the also ran cars or high-end luxury cars.
Yeah, obviously the more you spend, right, the more probably like it will stay around its value. But that's to me is just like boats, right? You'll buy it for quite a bit of money, and maybe you'll sell it for maybe like $10,000, $20,000 less than what you got it, but you're still losing money. You're still losing money over fees. But I just think for me, quite frankly, an Autobahn here would be fun. It'd be kind of like, all right, like let's do it right. I mean, I understand why they don't want you speeding here in some of the American highways because they're not taken care of in any way, shape, or form. So, and that's a whole different conversation. But getting back to this is that getting back to this conversation, you know, France, they just want your money. They're saying, fuck y'all. Just take this speeding ticket and stick it up your ass. That's pretty much it.
But here's something that's weird, though, right? Because it's very easy to make fun of France, you know, from America, right?
Yeah, best thing at retreating.
Okay. Now, here's the weird thing. If it was just about the money, then why would they limit it per car?
Probably to kind of cap how much they could pay these private companies. That's the only reason why I think they actually have a limiter, so they don't have these private companies kind of juicing it up, right? Because I think if they limit it, they're like, oh, well, shit, I can't just go out there 24 hours a day, have people on rotation like crazy. Every time someone just goes 5 over, ding, 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 ding. Like if they limit it. I mean, or 1 over, exactly. I think it's a way to minimize how it can be abused. I don't think that's a perfect system because people are just going to go to the cap. But, I mean, quite frankly, I think that's the only reason that's there, so it's not completely abused by these private companies to rake in millions upon millions of dollars.
All right. Or euros in this case. You guys in the comments section, you guys let us know what you think. Are you cool with, you know, some professional snitch being on the roads? Like they just created a new industry of professional snitches. Are you more safety conscious where you feel like, hey, anything that may save one life? You let us know in the comments below. More to Paul's point, also let us know if you're here in the United States or if you're in a country that isn't Germany, how would you like to have a series or a network of Autobahn type roads? Would it make you more likely to get a car on the higher power end, or are you just not interested at all? Leave that stuff in the comments down below. And as always, if you're coming here for the cold truth or the hot takes, make sure to hit that subscribe button, share it with your friends so that they can participate in the conversation. Hit the like button for the algorithm. We'll see you on the next one.